Game week 18 is around the corner. There are some big fixture swings coming and we all need to replace Bruno Fernandes. So make sure you like and subscribe and let's get right into the video. Also, before we all start, if you want to check out how I did in Game Week 17 and have a right old laugh at me for my Game Week rank of 11 million, make sure you go check out the YouTube short. You know, it's always nice to laugh at someone else and I had a generational stinker. Anyway, let's get on with the video. First up, we have the fixture difficulty rating. Now, this is how I make my decisions. Well, the main factor, you know, I do consider underlying data as well. Like, for sure, West Ham have a great fixture run. That doesn't mean I'm going to bring in a West Ham defender because I'm not stupid. I'll bring in a player like Bowen, maybe Paqueta, who knows. West Ham currently have the best fixture run along with Everton and Newcastle. I believe those are the top three teams with great fixture runs going into Game Week 18. West Ham and Everton especially unique because, you know, not many people own any West Ham or Everton players, so some big differentials in there. Whereas we look to the opposite side of the list, Aston Villa are on fire. They're doing so well. And even Leeds as well, they're on pretty good form. So is Calvert-Lewin, but their fixture runs are so bad. So when you look at the likes of Morgan Rogers and Dominic Calvert-Lewin, you think, oh, I must bring them in. They're doing so well. If you ask me, I think you should avoid them both. And I know a lot of people are going to disagree with that, but the fixtures do not lie. Okay, please stay with me. I know they've done well recently, but I don't think they're worth it. And I know I had an absolute stinker telling people not to get Calvert-Lewin last game week. But guys, I still don't think he's worth buying. So, you know, pay attention to the fixtures because I think you'll find out he may start blanking in the near future. What I find interesting about the teams with the great fixture runs here, you know, in the top two tiers, they have really good fixtures, but not a lot of reliable players. You know, West Ham, they're a pretty bad team. The only player you really look at is Jared Bowen. As for Everton, and Dyer's gone after AFCON, Dewsbury Hall's injured, so you've only really got Jack Grealish there, maybe Barry as well. But their options aren't great, even with good fixtures. And you look towards Newcastle, they're scoring a lot of goals. They're a reliable team. You've got Voltemada. But when you look to the midfielders, well, they're all rotation risks, so it's hard to make your decisions. As for Brentford, they have a good fixture run, and they've had some good fixtures, but all their, you know, supposed good players have been playing quite poorly and getting bad underlying data, so it's hard to know who to pick from that team as well. And don't even get me started on Liverpool, you know. I've even had myself planning to bring in Florian Wirtz, which I never expected, and I really shouldn't be going there, you know. Fair enough, Ekatike is cool, but even their defence isn't super reliable. And don't even get me started on United. I mean, Bruno's injured. Who else is there? Without Bruno, they can't even play football. So while all these teams have amazing fixtures, I don't think there's, you know, a lot of players you want to be targeting here for the long term. There's only a few. I mean, we'll get into it. You're looking at teams like City and Arsenal. They're teams with really, you know, average fixture runs, but you're going to be targeting a lot of their players because Arsenal and City are the best two teams in the league. So let's unpack the best players to buy in each position, starting with the defenders. Picking defenders is actually quite easy this game week. Brentford have a good defence. The defence is on good form and they've got a good fixture run. It's very simple. Vandenberg also isn't at a risk of suspension like Collins. He's also pretty good for DEFCON, so it's a no-brainer to get Vandenberg as one of your cheap defenders. Above him, we have Michael Keane, the main threat for corners for Everton, and his DEFCONs are better than Tarkowski, which I did not expect. At under 5 million with a good fixture run, he's an amazing player to buy, a good player to rotate with the likes of, you know, a Newcastle defender or Vandenberg here. After that, we have Konate. Now, the Liverpool defence hasn't been great recently. They've been conceding a lot of goals, but if you look at the underlying data, they're actually not bad. You know, they're not amazing. They're not Arsenal good, but they're not bad. You know, the defensive data is better than Man City's, which I did not expect when looking at the data this game week, but it's true. And Konate is the best for DEFCONs, also cheaper than Van Dijk, so it makes him the obvious pick to go for. And that home to Wolves game is a perfect entry point. You just want to make sure you have someone to cover him when he plays away to Arsenal in game week 21, or else you're guaranteed negative points there. The top two spots, I don't think anyone is surprised here. Despite their average fixture run, Arsenal have the potential to keep 6 clean sheets in their next 6 games. And I know they probably won't keep 6 clean sheets in their next 6 games, but you couldn't be surprised if they did. Their defensive data is so good, they're currently underperforming that. I don't expect that to continue. Timber and Calafiori are also fairly reliable for minutes most of the time, not all the time, but I'm fairly confident they'll start most games, and they're still worth picking over other Arsenal defenders because the likes of Saliba, he's never going to get DEFCONs or goal involvements, whereas Calafiori and Timber are both in the top 10 for expected goal involvements among defenders, Timber in the top 5. So even if these guys do get benched now and then and they miss a clean sheet, they can make up for it with a goal or an assist. Like if you pick these 5 defenders in a back 5, there'd be no issues. You know, it would be perfect because they can all rotate well with each other. You can play a back 5 because they're also good for goal involvements, DEFCONs, clean sheets, etc. You know, obviously Timber's not great for DEFCONs, and obviously Vandenberg isn't great for goal involvements, but they all have their own appeal alongside clean sheets. It's not like they're going to get 2 or 6 pointers, you know. Vandenberg could be getting an 8-pointer, Kanate could be getting a 12-pointer, Timber a 15-pointer, etc. So many avenues for these guys to go down to get points. So big at the back could be a great option for you all this game week. Next up, we go into the midfielders, and it's a weird one. Normally, midfielders are the easiest ones to choose from, you know, but this game week is very difficult. There's not a lot of great midfielders to choose from, if I'm being completely honest. Like I said, I was nearly considering Florian Wirtz, and while he's not an awful idea, he's not great, and he's played really bad this season. No matter what Liverpool fans tried to tell you, I tried putting him on this list because he has a great entry point home to Wolves, but he simply does not deserve to be here. So in 5th place, we have Ryan Shirky, who's looking fairly reliable for minutes. Not super reliable, but he's getting an assist nearly every time he plays, and I'm not even exaggerating when I say that. His expected assists are really high, and his teammates are converting them. And can we really be surprised when he's got, you know, Foden and Haaland as teammates? They're going to keep that up. Shirky's going to keep getting assists, just don't expect him to start every single game. Sharda, his underlying data is not great. Like I said though, Brentford have a good fixture run, and he is the best attacker alongside Thiago to pick for your FPL teams. Even though he's on fairly awful form at the moment, he's still better than the likes of Florian Wirtz and Ryan Shirky. There's just not a lot of great options this week, with Palmer and Saka being too expensive and Bruno being injured. We're looking at Sharda as one of the best midfielders to own, and above him, we also have a fairly off-form player in Jack Grealish. But like I said, the fixtures mean a lot, and Grealish has a good fixture run coming up. Grealish is also the best attacker from Everton to go for, with no Ndiaye and no Dewsbury Hall, and you know, him looking like the only reliable attacker long term for their team. He's the one to go for, and playing away to Burnley is a perfect entry point because Burnley are the worst defence in the league. Above Grealish, Sharda and Shirky though, we have 2 midfielders who I think are really, really good to target that I specifically bring in this game week at all costs. Declan Rice is the first one. I think he's better than Saka. I think across the next, say, 10 game weeks, for example, he will score similar to Saka at 3 million less. The guy is an assist and DEFCON monster, being on all the set pieces and being such a great defensive asset for Arsenal. He's got so many avenues to go down to get points. He won the assist when they beat Everton 1-0 and got DEFCONs with some bonus points. He got an 11-pointer for doing, you know, theoretically not a lot. Declan Rice is so good to own because even in tough fixtures, you know, Arsenal get a corner, a free kick, he's going to be there to pick up an assist from it, and he can get DEFCONs in almost any game. But he is not the best midfielder to buy. Matheus Cunha is going to be playing every single game for Manchester United, and I know he's not got Bruno Fernandes to team up anymore for goals, and Bruno is going to do a lot for Man United, but Mason Mount is still there. And I know Mason Mount's not Bruno, but Mason Mount is better than no Mason Mount. Man United will still be able to bag some goals. Like, Newcastle are not strong defensively, nor are Wolves, nor are Burnley, so 3 of the next 4 are really good fixtures. Cunha could play up front or as an inside forward. He is just a very strong player who's getting some good underlying data, but like I said, there is no Bruno, so don't expect a ton. But I still think he's one of the best midfielders to own for the next 4 or 5 game weeks. Then you can sell him when he plays away to Arsenal. And I know a lot of you are thinking, where's Morgan Rogers, guys? He is a big expected goals over performer, and you know how I feel about those. They just never keep it up for that long. And even though Morgan Rogers is great, his fixture run is awful, and I don't think you should bring him in. Fair enough. Hold him if you have him. It's not the end of the world, but please don't buy Morgan Rogers. Please buy anyone else on this list instead. I would even tell you to buy Wirtz over Rogers, and that's really saying something. We are going into the forwards now, and the forwards market has been absolutely diabolical, but all of a sudden, there are amazing forwards to buy. 4 in particular. Obviously, you all already own Haaland, so I'm not going to recommend him here. That's the same reason I didn't put Foden on the midfielders list. When a player's ownership is super high, I'm not going to recommend them in these videos because there's no point. Barry is bottom of this list. He is not in the top 4. He is not the most reliable for minutes, but he's got good fixtures and he will start most games for Everton. So yeah, blah, blah, blah. Barry's here. He's not important. These top 4 are all insane. I could have put them in any order. It was very tough. Thiago could easily be number 1. Bowen could easily be number 4, you know, stuff like that. It's very hard to pick the right order. I put Thiago at the bottom here because Brentford are on bad form along with Thiago. He played a fairly easy fixture against the Wolves last game week, and he had 0.01 expected assists and 0 shots, meaning 0 expected goals. The next fixture for him is really good because Bournemouth are first for expected goals conceded to strikers, which screams Thiago. You know, it's a great matchup for him, which is why he's still here, but his poor form is why he is at the bottom. Baltimore slightly above, on great form, scored a brace when a lot of people sold him, and to be fair, selling him wasn't the worst idea, but it still wasn't a great idea. You know, there are many other good forwards in the game, so I understand why people sold him. but, you know, he's still a great player to buy. Away to Man United is a great fixture, but let's be honest, defensively, Man United are not great. Ekitike in second place, he is going to be a very popular buy in this week. Home to Wolves is a great entry point. He is on amazing form with 5 goals in his last 3. I don't see him slowing down anytime soon with the easy fixtures coming up. And with Isak injured, his minutes are very, very safe. And to be honest, I think if Isak was fully fit, Ekitike would still be the first choice. He's looking like the only real strong Liverpool attacker this game week. Bowen, I've put at number 1 on this list. Once again, I'm not 100% sure I've ordered these guys in the right order. All 4 of them are as good as each other, but because West Ham have the best fixture run and Bowen's underlying data is looking fairly solid in the last 4 game weeks, I've put him here anyway. I think he's probably the best striker to target, but he is a lot riskier to go for. Just keep that in mind, especially with Thiago's matchup being really good into Bournemouth, like I said earlier. It may be safer to keep Thiago this game week, even though Bowen is better to own long term. As for captaincy now, I got absolutely ruined by Haaland last game week. Haaland alone absolutely decimated my rank. Once again, go check out my YouTube short if you want to hear me complain even more. Haaland is the best captain this game week. Even though Forest are actually one of the best defenses in the league across the last 8 game weeks, Haaland is still great against Forest because Forest concede a lot of their goals inside the 6-yard box, and we all know that is where Haaland thrives the most. So it's still almost a no-brainer to go with Haaland, especially for someone like me who just went against Haaland and got absolutely destroyed. It's only right that I play it safe this game week, but there are still other options to go for. Well, only real one option I think is actually valid this game week. I personally wouldn't go there, but I know who a lot of you are thinking, and I think it may be worth the risk if you believe in it. We are talking about Ekitike playing home to Wolves, 5 goals in the last 3. Underlying data to back it up, and as we all know, Wolves are absolutely terrible. Just to make it clear, guys, I wouldn't go here. I wouldn't do it. I wouldn't take that risk. But if you do want to take that risk because playing away to Forest isn't the easiest fixture, Ekitike is the guy to target. He's the only other option. You could argue Thiago. Like I said, he's got a great matchup, but with his underlying data looking quite poor, I wouldn't go there either. I would strongly recommend you stick to Haaland, but I couldn't ignore Ekitike because he is still a valid captaincy option, despite how scary it is to go without Haaland. Anyway, guys, that is it from me. If you made it this far, you are greatly appreciated. Let me know your thoughts down in the comments, and I will see you all in the next video.